Multitasking. Are you under the influence? The grand delusion that is known as multitasking can be defined as this: the attempt to consciously perform two or more tasks at the same time. Now notice the italics for the word consciously, because your subconscious mind happens to be a master at multitasking. In fact, with effortless ease and with no input from your conscious mind, your subconscious mind can perform many millions of calculations per second as it orchestrates your heart rate, your body temperature, digestion, and everything else required to keep you alive. And while it's doing all that, you can safely toss it the task of driving your automobile while you cruise down the highway daydreaming. Your conscious mind, however, is incapable of multiple simultaneous calculations. It can do one thing at a time. That's it. Now, if you're about to protest by citing examples of your ability to watch TV while writing a report, then you've landed on the very point of this writing, because that belief is the delusion. Why your conscious mind is incapable of multitasking. When you attempt to watch TV and write a report, what you're actually doing is rapidly shifting your focus from watching TV to writing your report. But you're not doing both at the same time. In fact, this is where the inefficiency comes into play. See, a great deal of energy is burned up in high-speed mental travel as your brain switches focus from the television program to the report and then back again. Now you might be thinking, look, I'm different. When I multitask, I'm getting both tasks accomplished with perfect aplomb, so who cares if I actually shift my attention back and forth? But that's just it. We fool ourselves into thinking we're magically doing more than one thing at a time, but in reality, we're just switching from doing one thing inefficiently to doing another thing inefficiently. Let's suppose that you're at your computer and you begin to write a sales letter to a potential client. You focus your mind on the task at hand and you begin to type when all of a sudden your email prompt goes off. Because the cognitive rules for writing a sales letter are different than the rules for reading an email, your brain must literally disengage from the section of the brain required to write the sales letter and enlist different neurons in a different part of your brain to attend to your email. Now, if you're going to respond to the email, your brain switchboard is once again consulted, requiring a two-part message. First, your brain must disengage from the act of reading an email, and second, it must go into another part of your brain to find the protocols for writing a response to the email. Now, here's the thing. Each time you switch focus, your brain must become aware of the desire to switch, then disengage, then focus on the new desire to enlist the section of your brain responsible for the new task. And that is precisely why we are incapable of multitasking. The conscious brain is a sequential processor, unable to pay attention or process two different things at the same time. Multitasking is a myth. For example, how quickly can you do this simple exercise? First, print the statement, multitasking is a myth. And then below that statement, write a corresponding number under each letter as shown below. Time yourself as you do this exercise. So, how quickly did you perform the above exercise? Okay, now time yourself doing the same exercise, only this time you're going to combine the tasks. For example, print the letter M, and then immediately below it, write the number 1. Then print the letter U, and immediately below that, write the number 2, and so on. So, how long did it take this time when all you had to do was switch your focus back and forth between letters and numbers? Here's the thing. If you're like most people, it took you at least twice as long. See, in the first exercise, your brain focused on writing a sequence of letters, and then it focused on writing a sequence of numbers. In the second exercise, your brain had to toggle between tasks as it engaged and disengaged between accessing where you store your recollection of letters and where you store your recollection of numbers. Now, although the switching cost may be relatively small, sometimes just a few tenths of a second per switch, however, they can add up to large amounts of time and expended energy whenever people switch repeatedly back and forth between tasks. This is precisely why attempting to multitask is so inefficient and taxing. It drains our energy and it kills our productivity. The hidden cost of multitasking. One of the pivotal studies on multitasking reported in the Journal of Experimental Psychology in 2001 by researchers Rubenstein, Mayer, and Evans. They found that people who switch between tasks, especially complex ones, become dramatically less efficient. The study found that participants who completed tasks in parallel were 50% more likely to make mistakes and 40% less productive than those who completed the same task in sequence because of all the wasted time and effort from switching from one task to another. Is multitasking ever appropriate? During times of leisure, it's totally appropriate. If you happen to be watching TV while surfing the net and engaging friends on social media, that's perfectly fine, provided none of these activities require your full concentration. However, if you're involved in any activity that requires focused thought and you're still attempting to multitask, you're not only fooling yourself, but you're wasting your irreplaceable resource of time. If truth be told, multitasking is often a convenient excuse to cross off the simpler items on our to-do list while we judiciously skirt the toughest tasks. More often than not, it's procrastination in disguise. Human beings are incapable of consciously multitasking. If you learn to accept this truism and forever eliminate the delusion that you are the exception, that somehow you're just too busy to not multitask, your productivity will increase by an order of magnitude. You will find more free time than you thought possible, and you will quantifiably reduce any feelings of stress or anxiety. When it comes to multitasking, just don't do it.